Stop what you're doing. This is critical. What I'm about to reveal to you will change the way you see the turmoil a narcissist is currently facing. It's not a mystery, and it's not an accident. There is a hidden, powerful truth at work. The person who caused you so much pain and suffering is now facing a reckoning, and it's just beginning. Their carefully constructed world of lies and manipulation is now being violently shaken. This isn't just bad luck or a temporary setback for them. It's a direct and deliberate consequence of their own actions. The false reality they built to control you is now collapsing upon itself, and they can't hide from the horrifying consequences. The very fabric of their existence is tearing apart, and they are experiencing a panic they have never known before. This is not a man-made event. This is the unfolding of divine justice, and it's a truth you need to understand to find your own freedom. The Bible reveals a fundamental truth that governs all of creation, a spiritual law that no person, no matter how clever or cunning, can escape. It is the principle of sowing and reaping. The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 6 verse 7, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." This is not a suggestion. It's an unbreakable law. The narcissist, in their arrogance and delusion, believed they could sow seeds of cruelty, manipulation, and falsehood without ever having to face the harvest. They thought they were above this law, that their charm and cunning would forever shield them from the consequences of their actions. But the Bible tells us otherwise. Every seed of pain they planted, every act of betrayal, every lie they told, is now coming to fruition in their own life. Their world is beginning to shake from the inside out because the very foundation of lies they built it upon is collapsing. You are witnessing a spiritual event. The torment they are feeling now is not just a result of a bad day or a streak of misfortune. It is the direct consequence of the spiritual seeds they have sown. The Bible reveals in Proverbs chapter 26 verse 27, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them." This is a powerful and accurate picture of what is happening. The pits they dug to trap you and others are now becoming their own prison. The stones they rolled to hurt you are now rolling back with a force they never anticipated. Their reality is becoming a reflection of the darkness they projected onto everyone else. They are trapped in a self-made cycle of chaos and confusion, a direct result of their own unrepentant heart. They believed they could get away with hurting others, but the Bible tells us the truth will always come to light. Think about the sheer amount of energy they had to expend to maintain their false reality. The lies, the masks, the constant manipulation, it required a tremendous and exhausting effort. But the Bible says that truth is the only sustainable foundation. And God says that anything built on a lie will inevitably fail. Now, the cracks in their armor are showing, not because of your actions, but because of their own. They are running out of the mental and emotional resources required to keep the facade alive. This is why you see them panicking, lashing out, and becoming more desperate than ever before. The control they thought they had is failing, and their world is no longer responding to their commands. They are finding that the people who once enabled them are now pulling away, and the situations they once manipulated are now turning against them. This spiritual law is relentless and impartial. It doesn't care about their charm or their excuses. It simply delivers the harvest for the seeds that were planted. Their entire existence was a performance, a grand illusion designed to control and exploit others. And now, the audience is leaving. The stage is falling apart, and the spotlight is revealing their true, desperate state. They are facing the ultimate form of self-condemnation, a silent, internal horror that they cannot run from. For you, this is a sign of your own impending freedom. While they face the consequences of their choices, you are being given an opportunity to rebuild on a foundation of truth and grace. The shaking of their world is not meant for your celebration. It is meant to confirm that the justice of the universe is real and that you are no longer bound by their lies. The end of their cycle of control is the beginning of your journey toward peace. The shaking of their world is not a random tremor. It is the inevitable consequence of a spiritual law set in motion by their own actions. The Bible reveals that this is the natural process of a harvest. The truth is, the narcissist has spent their entire existence sowing seeds of malice, deceit, and control, and now the reaping has begun. They sowed lies, and now they are harvesting confusion. They sowed discord, and now their own relationships are splintering. They sowed fear into your life, and now they are experiencing a new deep-seated terror of their own. The principle is simple yet absolute. What you put out into the world, both good and bad, will eventually find its way back to you. The Bible warns in Job chapter 4 verse 8, "As I have observed, those who plow evil and those who sow trouble reap it." Their pain is not an act of vengeance from you. It is a direct consequence, a harvest of their own making. Consider the specific seeds they have sown. They planted seeds of emotional abuse, using manipulation to keep you small and to control your reality. The spiritual truth is that this act of spiritual and emotional subjugation creates a harvest of internal torment for them, a chaos within their own mind that they can't escape. They sowed seeds of financial ruin for others, believing they could take what wasn't theirs and prosper. The Bible reveals in Proverbs chapter 28, verse 27, "Those who give to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them receive many curses." The reverse is also true. Those who steal and exploit will find their own resources withering away. Their financial house is beginning to crumble because it was never built on a foundation of honest gain. They sowed seeds of betrayal and disloyalty, breaking promises and trust as if it meant nothing. God says that a person who is faithless in small matters will be found faithless in larger ones. This is why their current alliances are now turning against them. They simply cannot be trusted, and the spiritual world is revealing this truth. The Bible makes it clear that darkness cannot hide forever. It is a powerful message of hope for those who have been harmed. God says in Luke chapter 8 verse 17, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be brought out into the open." The lies the narcissist told to others and the lies they told themselves are now being exposed. You may not be the one doing the exposing, and in fact, it is better that you are not. This is a divine unveiling. Their secrets, their hidden shamas, their true nature is being brought to light by circumstances they cannot control. This is part of their harvest. The very things they worked so hard to conceal are now becoming public, causing them humiliation and a loss of the reputation they so carefully curated. This is a terrifying and profound experience for them because their entire identity was a manufactured illusion. When that illusion is shattered, they are left with nothing but a void. For you, understanding this principle of the harvest is critical to your own healing. It removes the burden of seeking vengeance. You don't have to get even because the universe is already doing the work. You can release the need to watch them suffer and focus on your own new harvest. While they are reaping the bitter fruits of their past actions, you are now free to sow seeds of grace and truth in your own life. You have the opportunity to plant seeds of forgiveness, not for them, but for your own heart. You can plant seeds of peace, choosing to no longer engage with the cycle of chaos they created. You can plant seeds of self-care, nurturing your soul and spirit in ways they never allowed you to. The soil of your life has been tilled by pain and suffering, but it is now ready for a new planting. This spiritual law is relentless, and its effects are unavoidable. The narcissist's harvest of chaos is a testament to this truth, but it is also a powerful symbol of your own future. While they are buried under the weight of their past, you are rising to cultivate a beautiful new life. Their torment is not the focus. It is merely a signal that the old season has ended. The new season is one where you get to decide what you sow. And as you begin to plant seeds of love, joy, and peace, you can be absolutely certain that you will one day reap a beautiful harvest of your own. Your future is being shaped by the seeds you plant right now. The harvest the narcissist is now facing has a spiritual element that is unique and devastating to them. It is the direct and unrelenting exposure of their lies. For a narcissist, their greatest enemy isn't a person or a circumstance. It is the truth itself. Their entire identity is built on a fabricated narrative, a carefully curated performance designed to manipulate and control others. They are not who they pretend to be, and because of this, they are in a constant state of spiritual war against reality. They cannot stand in the light because the light reveals what is hidden. And the Bible tells us that this light is an unstoppable force. The light they are now facing is a divine one, shining into every dark corner they tried to keep secret. This is why their world is unraveling. The foundation of lies cannot withstand the power of truth. The Bible reveals in John chapter 8 verse 32, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." This verse is a powerful declaration of spiritual liberation, and it applies to both sides of this equation. You are being set free by the truth of what was done to you and the truth of who you are without them. But for the narcissist, this very truth is a cage. They have consistently rejected it. They refuse to know themselves, to accept their flaws, or to acknowledge the harm they caused. They have spent their lives running from reality, and now reality is catching up to them. The truth that brings freedom to a person of integrity becomes a terrifying condemnation to a person who has built their life on falsehoods. This is the light they cannot withstand. It's not a physical light, but the spiritual radiance of undeniable fact. Consider the enormous amount of energy required to maintain their illusion. They had to remember which lie they told to whom, constantly adjusting their story to fit the needs of the moment. They lived in a state of spiritual and emotional exhaustion, always on guard, always afraid of being found out. Now, a higher power is bringing everything to light. God says in Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11, "Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them." Their entire life has been a series of fruitless deeds of darkness, and now they are being exposed. Their hidden shamas, their secret cruelties, their double lives, all of it is now coming into the open, and not by your hand, but by a divine process. This is the beginning of their public and private torment. They are losing the very thing they built their existence on: control over the narrative for you. This is a moment to recognize your own spiritual strength. You were the one who had the courage to face the truth, even though it was painful. You had to admit to yourself that you were in a relationship with a person who was not who they claimed to be. You had to face the reality of their cruelty and the extent of the damage they caused. This act of facing the truth was your first step toward freedom. While they run from it, you walk toward it, and in doing so, you are walking into the light. The Bible makes it clear that darkness cannot overcome the light. Their foundation of lies is crumbling because it is being exposed to a light they have no defense against. They can scream, they can deny, they can rage, but they cannot stop the truth from being revealed. This process is a powerful reminder that there is a cosmic justice at work, a force that corrects imbalances and exposes what is hidden. The narcissist's reign of terror was only possible because it was cloaked in darkness and deceit. But now that the light is shining, their power is gone. They are like a bug scurrying away from a stone that has been lifted with nowhere left to hide. Their greatest fear is being seen for who they really are, and that is precisely what is happening to them. This is not about your revenge. It is about the spiritual law of truth bringing its own consequences. You are no longer their captive. In the darkness, you are a witness to the power of the light, standing in a place of peace and safety while their world, built on a lie, comes crashing down. The public collapse of their lies is only half of the torment they are facing. The other half is a silent internal horror they cannot run from. They are now trapped in a private prison of their own making, their mind. A narcissist has spent their life externalizing their pain, projecting their insecurities and darkness onto everyone around them. They avoided looking within at all costs. But now, the spiritual law of consequence is forcing them into a solitary confinement with themselves. The very cruelty they inflicted on others is now echoing within their own mind, creating a torment they have no escape from. It is a terrifying state of being where their greatest enemy is the person staring back at them in the mirror. The Bible tells us a profound truth about the state of a wicked heart. God says in Isaiah chapter 57 verse 21, "There is no peace for the wicked, says my God." This isn't just a threat. It's a spiritual reality. The narcissist's life was a constant pursuit of external validation, of control and admiration because they had no internal peace. They were always running from the void within, but now that void is consuming them. The very chaos they created is now an active and relentless force within their own thoughts. They are experiencing a spiritual agitation, an internal unrest that no amount of success, no new person, and no amount of money can quiet. They are haunted by their own actions, not by a person's revenge, but by the relentless and undeniable truth of their own heart. Consider how their thought patterns must be shifting. They were so used to blaming you and everyone else for their problems, but now, as their lies are exposed and their world crumbles, the flimsy excuses no longer hold up. They are left with a terrifying clarity, a moment of profound spiritual self-awareness they never wanted to have. The Bible reveals in Proverbs chapter 28 verse 1, "The wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion." You may be far from them, having moved on with your life, but they are fleeing. They are running in circles, trying to escape a tormentor that is not an outside force, but their own soul. This is a silent, solitary punishment that is infinitely more profound than any external consequence they might face. This internal torment is the direct harvest of the seeds of cruelty and deceit they have sown. The pain they inflicted on you and others is now a festering wound within their own spirit. God's law reveals that what you put out into the world, whether it is light or darkness, will return to you. They poured out darkness, and now they are drowning in it. They are finding that the lies they told themselves are the very lies they now believe, leading to a profound sense of self-condemnation and confusion. They have no peace. They have no rest. And as Scripture reveals, the absence of peace is the hallmark of a life lived apart from truth and grace. They are in a state of constant inner turmoil, a spiritual restlessness that makes every waking moment a kind of hell. For you, this understanding is a final piece of liberation. You don't have to carry the weight of wishing harm upon them. The spiritual order has already taken care of it. While they are living in a prison of their own minds, you are being invited to find a deep, lasting peace. You have chosen to face the truth, and by doing so, you are finding rest for your soul. You are no longer agitated by their chaos. You are no longer living in their shadow. Their inner torment is a testament to the fact that you are now free from their influence. You can be at peace, knowing that their suffering is not of your making, but a direct result of their own unrepentant heart. While they are confined by their own choices, you are now walking in a place of spiritual and mental freedom, a gift from a loving and just universe. The torment a narcissist is now facing, both externally and internally, has a singular and profound consequence. Their grip on everything is slipping away. Their power was never a true power. It was an illusion built on lies and manipulation. They controlled people not through strength, but through fear and deceit. They controlled situations not through wisdom, but through cunning and coercion. But now that entire system of control is failing. They are losing their ability to manipulate others, and this loss leaves them feeling utterly powerless and completely exposed. It's a terrifying experience for them because their entire sense of self-worth was tied to their ability to control their environment and the people in it. The game is changing, and they are no longer in control of the rules. The Bible reveals that pride and manipulation lead to an inevitable fall. As Scripture reveals in Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18, pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Their pride, their unwavering belief in their own superiority and their right to control others, is the very thing that is now leading to their downfall. The control they once had was fragile, like a house of cards, and now that a spiritual wind is blowing, the cards are falling one by one. You may have noticed this yourself. People who once defended them are now questioning them. New people who they tried to charm are seeing through their act. Their old narratives are no longer working. The very people they sought to control are now seeing them for who they truly are. Their influence, once so widespread, is shrinking to nothing, leaving them with no one to manipulate and no one to impress. This loss of control is a divine reversal. While they once had you feeling like a puppet on a string, now they are the ones flailing in a state of chaos. The Bible tells us that this is a predictable outcome. The Bible tells us in Psalm chapter 37 verse 12, "The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them. But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming." Their plotting, their attempts to control and hurt you, is now a futile exercise. The higher power that you trusted is laughing at their efforts because their time is up. Their attempts to regain control are now coming across as desperate and pathetic, only serving to push people further away. Their frantic efforts to manipulate situations are backfiring, creating more chaos in their life. Their world, which was once so carefully managed, is now an uncontrollable disaster. For you, this is a moment of profound spiritual freedom. The narcissist's power over you was never real. It was an illusion they created and that you, for a time, believed. But now, as their grip is slipping on everyone and everything, you can see that you were never truly trapped. You were only held by a lie. This is your moment to take back the power they stole from you, not through fighting them, but by simply living your life in truth and grace. Their loss of control is the final sign that you are now completely free to make your own choices, to speak your own truth, and to walk your own path. You no longer have to worry about what they will do or say, because their words have lost their power, and their actions have lost their bite. Their feeling of powerlessness is a spiritual consequence of their arrogance. They believed they were the master of their own universe, but God says that there is only one master. They believed they could bend reality to their will, but God says that truth is immutable. Their failure to control others is a testament to the fact that the spiritual order is correcting itself. What was once an imbalance of power is now being rectified. And as you witness their loss of control, you can feel your own power returning, not for the purpose of controlling others, but for the purpose of building a life of peace, integrity, and joy. As their grip on others slips away, a new and profoundly terrifying reality is setting in for the narcissist. They are being left alone. Their greatest fear is being in a spiritual and emotional void with no one to manipulate, no one to impress, and no one to provide them with the validation they so desperately crave. For them, being alone is a fate worse than any other. Their entire sense of self-worth is external, built on the admiration and attention of others. Without a constant audience, their false identity begins to wither and die, and they are left with nothing but their own internal torment. The very people they used and abused are now being divinely guided away, and they can't stop it. The Bible reveals that this kind of isolation is a natural consequence of a life lived without truth and love. As Scripture reveals in Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 1, an unfriendly person pursues selfish ends and against all sound judgment starts quarrels. Their entire life has been a series of selfish pursuits and quarrels, all designed to get what they want at the expense of others. And now, the natural consequence is that people are leaving. The people who were once drawn in by their charm are now repulsed by their true nature, which is becoming increasingly impossible to hide. The new people they try to pull into their web are being warned away by an unseen force, sensing the spiritual darkness that surrounds them. They are becoming untouchable, not because of a curse, but because of the truth that is radiating from their life. Their own actions have built a spiritual wall around them, and now they are trapped inside it. This isolation is a spiritual punishment because it forces them into an interaction with the one person they have spent their lives running from themselves. When they are left alone, they have no one to project their blame onto. They can't create new drama to distract themselves. They are forced to confront the void within, the very thing that they have avoided at all costs. This is the ultimate form of self-condemnation, a spiritual reality that they can't flee. They are finding that the people who were once their loyal followers are now being blessed with a new clarity. God says that a person who gives freely to others will be made rich, but a person who withholds and exploits will face ruin. Their spiritual and emotional bankruptcy is now being reflected in their social life for you. This isolation of the narcissist is a sign of your own spiritual progress. While they are losing everyone, you are being given the opportunity to build genuine, healthy relationships. The time and energy you once spent trying to appease and manage their chaos can now be spent nurturing real connections based on mutual love and respect. This is your reward for enduring the difficult season and choosing to walk away. The spiritual forces that once held you in their web are now working to separate them from their source of supply. The same unseen force that is guiding people away from them is also working to bring people of integrity and truth into your life. The chaos in their life is making way for peace in yours. This spiritual law is at work to correct the imbalance. The narcissist's hunger for attention and admiration has left them spiritually starving. And now that their source of supply is being cut off, they are facing a profound and empty loneliness. This is the harvest of a life lived in a state of spiritual and emotional isolation from truth. They are now experiencing the very thing they tried to inflict on you, a profound and total lack of connection. Their loneliness is a reminder that a life built on deceit and manipulation will always end in a spiritual wasteland. While the narcissist is left in a state of profound spiritual isolation, you are experiencing the beginning of a magnificent victory. The chaos and torment you endured wasn't just a physical or emotional struggle. It was a spiritual war. The narcissist, in their quest for control, created an unseen battle to hold you captive. Their manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional abuse were not just random cruelties. They were spiritual weapons designed to drain your energy, distort your perception of reality, and disconnect you from your own spirit. But I want you to know with absolute certainty that this spiritual war is ending. The narcissist's world is crumbling because the higher power you trusted has intervened, and you are being released from the unseen conflict. The Bible tells us that our struggles are often more than what they appear to be on the surface. God reveals in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." This passage gives us a clear understanding that the battle you were in was not just with a person. It was with a dark spiritual force that was operating through them. The narcissist was a vessel for that darkness, a tool used to create chaos, confusion, and despair in your life. Their goal was to keep you in a state of spiritual fatigue, to make you doubt your own goodness and the divine protection over your life. But now, that dark force is being defeated, and the battle is over for you. You can feel the shift already. The anxiety you once felt is beginning to lift. The constant worry about their next move is fading. The spiritual stronghold they had over your life is being dismantled, and with every new day, you are gaining back your spiritual energy and clarity. God promises in Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners. This is your proclamation. You were a captive, held by their deceit, and now you are being set free. You were a prisoner in their web of lies, and now the darkness is being released from you. The narcissist's collapse is the spiritual sign that your freedom has arrived. For you, this means you can stop fighting. The battle is no longer yours to fight. You don't have to seek revenge. You don't have to prove your innocence. And you don't have to worry about what they are doing. The unseen forces are at work on your behalf, and the spiritual enemy that was operating through them is being defeated. Your task now is to walk in this new freedom. Let go of the need to check on them, to seek closure from them, or to try and understand their actions. Their world is in a state of spiritual collapse because the darkness they carried is turning on itself. Your victory is not in their defeat, but in your liberation. This is a time for you to take back your spiritual and emotional space. The energy you had to expend to survive their attacks can now be used to build a new life, a life of peace and truth. You endured the battle and you survived. And now you are being honored for your endurance with a profound peace that cannot be taken away. You are no longer a participant in their spiritual war. You are a victor walking into a new season of grace and blessing. The end of their cycle of chaos is the beginning of your spiritual restoration, a quiet and profound peace. That is a gift from a loving and just universe. Now that the spiritual war is ending, your personal season of suffering is also drawing to a close. While their world is in a state of chaos and torment, you are being ushered into a new era of divine healing and peace. This is your time for restoration. The exhaustion, the emotional fatigue, and the deep-rooted pain you have carried are now being lifted from you. You have endured a great trial, and as the Bible reveals, your endurance has prepared you for a future far greater than the pain you have known. The purpose of this season is not to make you bitter, but to make you whole. It's a time for your spirit to be mended, your heart to be restored, and your soul to find rest. The Bible gives us a profound promise in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This is a promise for you right now. The pain you went through was not part of a plan to harm you. It was a period of sifting, a time when the universe was preparing you for a future of peace and prosperity. The chaos you endured was a test of your spirit, and you passed. Now, the divine plan for your life, one that has always been rooted in hope, is beginning to unfold. You are entering a time when you can expect good things to happen. You can expect to feel joy again. You can expect to feel peace. And you can expect to have a future that is not defined by the suffering of your past. This restoration is both spiritual and physical. God says in Psalm chapter 30, verse 5, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." You have spent many nights weeping, and now your morning has arrived. The tears you cried were not in vain. They were part of a spiritual process that is now leading you to a profound and lasting joy. You may not wake up tomorrow and feel completely restored, but the process has begun. Every step you take away from their influence is a step toward your healing. Every time you choose peace over conflict, you are choosing to walk into this new season. You are being given an opportunity to rebuild your life on a foundation of truth and grace, one that is rooted in a trust that a higher power is on your side. This new season is also a time to reclaim parts of yourself that you lost. The narcissist tried to steal your identity, to make you forget who you were before they came into your life. But now, in this period of restoration, you are being invited to find yourself again. You can reclaim your passions, your creativity, and your dreams. You can rebuild your relationships with people who truly love you. You can reconnect with the parts of your spirit that were dimmed by their darkness. This isn't just about moving on. It's about being made whole again, about being restored to the person you were always meant to be. The end of their chaos is not just about their defeat. It is about your magnificent return to yourself. You are being given a second chance at a life of peace and purpose. Do not be tempted to look back. Do not be tempted to feel pity for them. They are reaping the harvest they sowed, and you are about to reap the harvest of your endurance and faith. Your journey through the darkness was not a punishment. It was a purification. You have been refined by fire, and you are coming out stronger, more resilient, and more beautiful than ever before. Your time for divine restoration is here, and it is a gift of grace from a universe that honors your strength and your spirit. The divine restoration you are now stepping into is a gift made possible because a higher power has finally severed the chains that bound you to the narcissist. What you experienced was more than a difficult relationship. It was a form of spiritual bondage. They created an inescapable bond, a cord of emotional and psychological control that seemed impossible to break. They used your empathy, your compassion, and your good heart as a way to keep you tied to their drama and their lies. You may have felt like a prisoner in a spiritual and emotional sense, always pulled back into their chaos, no matter how far you tried to run. But I want you to know with certainty that those chains are finally being broken. The Bible reveals that breaking the bonds of injustice is a profound spiritual act. God asks a question in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? This is precisely what is happening in your life right now. The chains of injustice they used to keep you captive are being loosed. The cords of the yoke they placed on you are being untied. You are the oppressed being set free. You did not have to earn this freedom. It is a divine act of grace. The spiritual collapse of their world is a sign that the very chains that held you are now disintegrating. The more they unravel, the looser your bonds become. This spiritual severing is releasing you from the need for their approval, the fear of their anger, and the burden of their chaos. For so long, your sense of peace and safety was tied to their moods and their demands. You were in a state of constant spiritual and emotional slavery, always on guard, always trying to anticipate their next move. But God says that you are no longer a slave. The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." This is your divine instruction. You have been set free. Now, your task is to stand firm in that freedom. Do not allow yourself to be pulled back into the drama. Do not allow their current misery to make you feel responsible for them. Your responsibility is to your own healing and to your new life. This is the end of their power over you. The chains they used to manipulate you, the emotional guilt trips, the constant gaslighting, the false promises are now powerless. You are free from their influence in a way you never were before. You can speak your mind without fear of their retaliation. You can make your own decisions without their approval. You can pursue your own joy without their sabotage. Their spiritual collapse is the divine act that has made this freedom a reality. It is a sign that the spiritual forces that were once operating through them to harm you are now being defeated. And you are the one walking away, unchained. The weight you have felt for so long, the exhaustion, the spiritual burden is now being lifted. You are not just moving on, you are being liberated. The chains have been broken, and you are no longer a captive. This is a moment to feel profound relief and gratitude. You survived. You endured. And now, you are being set free by a higher power that honors your strength and your spirit. Your journey of healing is not just about letting go. It is about stepping into a newfound freedom that you will now carry for the rest of your life. Now that your chains are finally broken, it's time to learn how to walk in your divine freedom. For so long, you were a captive, and your every step, every choice, and every thought was influenced by the narcissist's need for control. You had to navigate a world of their making, constantly anticipating their next move and contorting yourself to fit their distorted reality. But now, that old reality is gone. The narcissist world is in collapse, and your bonds have been severed. It is now your moment to step fully and without apology into your new identity, unburdened by their influence and guided by the truth. The Bible reveals that this is a spiritual rebirth, a new creation. God says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here." This powerful truth is your reality. The person you were in that toxic dynamic, the anxious, fearful, and self-doubting version of you is now part of your past. The new you is emerging, a person of strength, clarity, and peace. This isn't a small change. It's a profound spiritual transformation. You are no longer defined by the trauma they inflicted, but by the resilience you showed and the grace you are now living in. Your identity is no longer tied to their chaos, but to the divine order of justice that is now unfolding. Walking in this new freedom requires a new way of being. It means trusting your own instincts again. The narcissist trained you to doubt yourself, to question your own reality, and to believe that their perception was the only one that mattered. But now, as you walk in freedom, you can reconnect with your inner wisdom. God has given you an internal compass, and you are being guided to trust it again. Listen to your gut feelings. Honor your own thoughts and emotions. The fear that once told you to stay quiet is now a whisper you can ignore. You are no longer living in their shadow, but standing in the full light of your own truth. The Bible also tells us that we were each fearfully and wonderfully made. In Psalm chapter 139, verse 14, this is a truth you need to internalize and remember as you step into your new identity. The person you were always meant to be is now being revealed. They tried to hide your light, to make you feel worthless and small, but their efforts were in vain. Their spiritual collapse is a sign that their influence over you is gone, and now, your true light is free to shine. This isn't just about moving on from them. It's about moving toward yourself, the person you were before their darkness touched your life. This is a time for you to set new boundaries, not as a form of control, but as a way of honoring your newfound freedom. You can say no without guilt. You can choose peace over people-pleasing. You can build a life that is a reflection of your own values and desires, not a response to their demands. This is what it means to walk in divine freedom. It is a state of being where you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but a deliberate and intentional creator of your own life. Their torment is a sign that they are reaping what they have sown, and your peace is a sign that you are now free to walk into a future filled with a new and beautiful harvest. As you continue to walk in your newfound freedom, you will find yourself approaching the final and most profound step in your personal liberation, the lifting of the weight of vengeance. It is a natural human emotion to want to see the person who hurt you suffer. There is a part of you that may want to witness their downfall, to see them get what they deserve. But I want to tell you that holding on to that desire is a heavy spiritual burden that will keep you from fully enjoying your peace. The good news is that you don't have to carry it. The universe is already taking care of it, and your task is simply to release the need for revenge. The Bible makes it explicitly clear that vengeance is not your responsibility. As Scripture reveals in Romans chapter 12 verse 19, do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. This is a powerful and comforting truth. You do not have to lift a finger to see justice served. You do not have to spend a single moment of your precious energy wishing ill on them. God says that vengeance is His alone, and He will repay. The torment the narcissist is now facing, the unraveling of their life, and the private prison of their mind, this is that repayment. You don't have to wish it upon them, because it is already happening as a direct result of their actions. Holding on to a desire for vengeance is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. It keeps you spiritually and emotionally tethered to the very person you are trying to be free from. It prevents you from fully living in the moment and enjoying the peace you have fought so hard for. God says that a person's wisdom yields patience, and it is a matter of honor to overlook an offense. Releasing the need for vengeance is not about condoning their actions or pretending the hurt didn't happen. It is an act of self-preservation. It is a spiritual choice to protect your own heart and to keep it from becoming hardened by bitterness. Your peace is more important than their suffering. Think about what it would mean to truly be free. It means that their existence no longer occupies any space in your mind, your heart, or your spirit. When you hold on to vengeance, even in a small way, you are still giving them power over you. They are still a character in the story of your life. But when you truly let go, when you release it and hand it over to a higher power, then their story is no longer a part of your journey. You are free to write a new one, a story of joy, healing, and purpose. The narcissist is now facing the consequences they created, and it is a spiritual truth that this is far more painful than any revenge you could have ever planned. Their suffering is a direct harvest of their unrepentant heart, and it is a punishment. They cannot run from that, so I invite you to take a moment and consciously release this weight. Say to yourself that you are no longer responsible for their suffering. Say that you are no longer carrying the burden of vengeance. Hand it over to a higher power and trust that true justice is already at work. This is the final, beautiful step in your liberation. As you let go, you will find a new lightness in your spirit, a new peace in your heart, and a new energy for the beautiful life that is waiting for you. As you lift the final weight of vengeance from your shoulders, you will feel something new and powerful begin to fill that space. It is a new spiritual fortitude, a quiet confidence and strength that has arrived to help you build a life founded on truth and love. You may not feel it in a dramatic way, but you will notice it in small, profound shifts. The things that once terrified you no longer hold the same power. The opinions of others, especially those from the past, lose their ability to define you. The anxiety that once was a constant companion is replaced by a deep-seated peace. This new strength is not something you have to create. It is a gift, a divine endowment that has arrived to equip you for the magnificent future ahead. The Bible makes a beautiful promise to those who have endured. God reveals in Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." You were in a relationship that made you weary. You were walking through a season of emotional and spiritual faintness. But now, because you held on and hoped in a higher power, your strength is being renewed. You are being given the spiritual energy and endurance to not just survive, but to soar. You will be able to run and not be tired, to walk and not be faint. This is a promise of a new kind of spiritual and emotional resilience. You are no longer running on empty. You are being filled from a divine source. This new strength is a direct contrast to the desperation of the narcissist. While they are running in circles, frantically trying to regain control and hold their lives together, their strength is diminishing. They are growing weary, spiritually faint, and emotionally exhausted from the relentless battle against reality. They cannot soar. They are being dragged down by the weight of their own actions. But you, because you have chosen truth and have released the burdens of the past, are now being given a new kind of power. This is the power to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. This is the power to set boundaries without guilt, knowing that you are honoring your own spirit. This is the power to build new relationships based on mutual respect, rather than manipulation. This spiritual fortitude is the universe's way of honoring your endurance. You have been through a fire, and you have come out stronger. This strength will allow you to build a life of integrity, a life that they could never have. Your life will be a testament to the power of truth and the grace of a higher power. It will be built on a foundation of love, not fear. You will find that you are more capable, more resilient, and more compassionate than you ever thought possible. You are no longer just surviving, you are thriving. The narcissist's collapse is not your triumph. It is simply a spiritual truth that is making way for your own rise. Your task now is to lean into this new strength. Trust it. Allow it to guide you. When you feel a moment of doubt or fear, remember that you are no longer the same person. You have been given a new power, a new purpose, and a new way of being. This strength will be your guide as you walk forward, building a beautiful life and leaving the chaos of the past far behind. Your new strength is not just an endurance to build a new life. It is a gift that provides you with a profound inner peace, a tranquility that they can never touch. While their world is in a state of relentless chaos, you are being granted a spiritual serenity that is completely separate from their turmoil. You can be in the midst of a storm and yet feel a quiet calm within your spirit. This is a divine gift, a peace that has been earned through your endurance and your trust in a higher order. This peace is a protective shield, an unshakable inner sanctuary where their chaos, their manipulation, and their endless drama can never reach you again. The Bible reveals that this kind of peace is not of this world. God says in John chapter 14 verse 27, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." The world gives peace based on circumstances. It gives you peace when everything is going well. But a spiritual peace is different. It is a peace that exists even when the storm is raging around you. The narcissist's world is a constant state of trouble and fear, and they have no understanding of this peace. They are trapped in their own turmoil, and they cannot touch the tranquility that now resides within your heart. Your peace is a direct result of your separation from their darkness. It is a sign that you are now walking in the light. This peace is also a guardian of your heart and mind. The Bible says in Philippians chapter 4 verse 7, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This peace is now a sentinel standing guard over your inner world. It prevents the past from intruding on your present. It prevents their old words and lies from taking root in your mind. It is a spiritual force that protects your spirit from their lingering influence. You are being given a peace that is beyond your comprehension, a peace that simply exists because you are now on the right path, a path of truth and healing. You may hear of their ongoing chaos. You may see their desperate attempts to get attention or to spread more lies, but you will notice a difference in yourself. The news no longer triggers the same panic or anxiety. The chaos no longer feels like a personal attack. This is the peace working. It is the spiritual evidence that you are no longer tied to their frequency. You are now operating on a completely different level, a level of calm and clarity they can never reach. This is the ultimate form of protection. You don't need to build walls around yourself. You just need to live in this new divine tranquility. This peace is a direct contrast to their constant spiritual torment. While they are in a state of spiritual dis-ease and unrest, you are being given rest for your soul. Their inner chaos is a sign of their unrepentant heart, and your inner peace is a sign of your spiritual healing. You are no longer responsible for managing their emotions or their drama. Your only responsibility is to guard the peace that has been given to you. This is a moment to feel profound gratitude for the quiet, beautiful life that is now unfolding. For you, the narcissist's world is in collapse, and you are in a state of unshakable peace. Your unshakable peace is not an end in itself. It is the first sign that a magnificent new path is being paved for you. The destruction they caused in your life, the emotional ruin, the lost time, the financial stress was not meaningless. It was part of a spiritual process that is now being redeemed for a purpose you cannot yet imagine. You may have looked back at the past and felt that everything was a waste. But God says that nothing is ever wasted in the spiritual realm. The pain you endured, the lessons you learned, and the resilience you developed are now the very foundation upon which your new life will be built. The suffering you experienced is now being transformed into a magnificent new beginning. The Bible reveals that a higher power is constantly working to turn our most difficult moments into something good. God says in Romans chapter 8 verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This is a promise for you. Your journey through the darkness with the narcissist was a difficult calling, and now everything you went through is being used for your good. The heartbreak and betrayal gave you a profound understanding of true character. The gaslighting and manipulation gave you an unwavering commitment to truth. The isolation gave you a new appreciation for authentic connection. The destruction they caused is being redeemed, and a new path is being paved with the very stones they tried to trip you with. This new path is not just one of peace, but one of profound purpose. The skills you developed to survive, your patience, your empathy, your resilience, are now your greatest assets. You have a deep understanding of what it means to suffer, and that understanding will make you a more compassionate and powerful person in the world. You have an inner fortitude that few people possess, and that strength will be your guide as you build a life that is a testament to the power of truth and love. The Bible promises in Isaiah chapter 61 verse 3 that a higher power will provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. This is your portion. Your ashes are being turned into a crown of beauty. Your mourning is being transformed into a deep and lasting joy. You are now in a position to help others without being a victim. You have a wisdom that comes from lived experience, and you can now use that wisdom to navigate your own future and to protect your peace. The new path that is being paved for you is a path of freedom, a path of purpose, and a path of deep spiritual fulfillment. It is a life that is a direct result of your endurance, your grace, and your unwavering belief that justice would win. Day come. While the narcissist's path is one of ongoing torment and chaos, your path is one of peace and redemption. Your journey is a living testament to the fact that suffering, when surrendered to a higher power, is never in vain. The destruction they caused was an attack on your spirit, but you endured, and now you are being given a new life, a new path, and a new purpose. This is a time to look forward with hope and to trust that the universe is working on your behalf to create a life more beautiful and more meaningful than you could have ever imagined. Your new path is leading you toward a future that is not defined by their darkness, but by a quiet and abiding light. For so long, your life was filled with their noise, their drama, and their manufactured crises. It was a life lived in a state of spiritual and emotional exhaustion, always waiting for the next shoe to drop. But now, as their world collapses and your peace becomes unshakable, you are walking into a life of profound gentleness. This future is not about big, dramatic moments of triumph, but about the small, quiet joys that a person can only experience when they are truly free. It is a promise of a life that is peaceful, purposeful, and profoundly blessed. The Bible gives us a beautiful picture of what this gentle future looks like. God says in Psalm chapter 23, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul." This is the future that is being prepared for you. You will no longer be in a state of constant survival. You will be able to lie down in peaceful places. You will be led to quiet waters where your soul can be refreshed and replenished. The turmoil of the past is being replaced by a tranquility that will nourish your spirit and restore your heart. This gentleness is a spiritual reward for your endurance, a sign that your period of testing is over and your season of rest has begun. This abiding light is a powerful force. The Bible reveals in Isaiah chapter 58 verse 8, "Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear." Your light, which was dimmed by the darkness of their influence, is now breaking forth like the dawn. This is a light of clarity, of purpose, and of deep spiritual joy. And with it, your healing will appear quickly. The emotional wounds, the mental scars, the spiritual trauma, all of it is now being mended by the gentle hands of grace. This is a future where you will not just survive, but where you will thrive in a state of profound and lasting well-being. You are being given a future that is not a reaction to their past, but a deliberate creation of truth and love. You are no longer a victim in their story. You are the hero of your own. Your journey is a testament to the fact that light always overcomes darkness and truth will always prevail. The collapse of their world is simply the spiritual evidence that your liberation is complete. It is a sign that you are on the right path, a path that is leading you far away from their chaos and into a life of peace. Your purpose now is to embrace this future with open arms. Don't look back. Don't allow their lingering whispers to pull you back into a reality that no longer exists. Your future is a gift, and it is a gentle one. Their world is one of ongoing, self-inflicted torment, but your world is one of unshakable peace and quiet joy. This is the promise of a loving and just universe that honors the courageous, the resilient, and the true. This is your reward for walking through the fire and not being consumed. You have made it. You are free. And a beautiful, gentle future awaits you. Now, as you begin to settle into this new understanding, allow your heart and mind to find rest. The battle is over. The burdens have been lifted. There is nothing left for you to do but receive the peace that has been granted to you. Let go of any lingering anxiety or fear. You are safe now. You are protected. The light that is guiding you forward is a gentle one, and it is leading you to a life of quiet and profound joy. The universe is working on your behalf, and you are surrounded by a love that is more powerful than any darkness. Know that you are worthy of this peace, and it is a gift that can never be taken away. Close your eyes and feel the stillness within you. All is well.
Đồi thông là gì? Quá nè.